Hey guys, I'm Max.
I'm Maddie.
And she's going to tell me a story.
Yeah, today we're going to do a story time. I'm going to tell him a story that I've never told him before, and we're going to let you guys watch and be a part of it.
And to clarify, this is my first time hearing this. This is like no joke, uncut. Like I actually am excited and I'm here to listen.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting. Okay. Hi, Molly. Our dog is here. She's... Hi.
So, basically, in 2008, we moved from Boulder, Colorado, out to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived in this sort of small rental house, and we only lived there for like 6 months. But basically, so takes place like 3 or 4 months after we moved we moved from Boulder. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we lived there. We just moved. My mom didn't have a job at the time because she was sort of taking care of the kids and she was sort of between jobs, but like looking for work, but not super like hard. And so one of my parents' friends back from Boulder reached out to her and was like, hey, I know this guy and he's moving out to San Francisco and like I think you should meet up with him because he's opening up this chapter of this foundation out there, and like I think it would be super cool if you like worked together with him. And he said that to my mom.
So
and
he was like
my mom was like
networking.
Yeah, basically. So my mom was like, great, cool, let's like link up, like I'll meet up with that guy, whatever. So this guy's named Joe, and my mom reaches out to him, they talk, it's cool. He's like, yeah, I'm moving out to Napa. Like, I'm super excited, like, I'm opening up this foundation, like, a chapter of this foundation out in Marin, San Francisco area, like, I'm super excited, I'd love if you worked with me. Mama was like, cool, like, so they're, like, talking, and he's like, I just have to, like, move out with my wife, who has ALS. So,
Gotcha.
Him and her needed to move out, and they were planning on moving out to open up part of this foundation.
Okay.
So, fast forward, and he's about to move out, and he reaches out and he says to my mom, like, I want you to be the president of this chapter, and like I'll pay you, and like it'll be super cool, and you can basically run the whole thing out in San Francisco. Like, I'm gonna move out there too, but like I want you to be like the main leader of it. So then he is supposed to move out, and he drives out with his wife, and he moves out, and it's the day he's supposed to come. And my mom gets a phone call, and it's like, hi, it's from him, from Joe, and he's like, hi, the place we were supposed to move into, we can't move into, and, like, we don't have anywhere to go or anywhere to stay, like, could we stay with you? And so
That's
my
weird.
mom's sort of like, my parents are like, and then we're like, okay, yeah, I guess for a night, like, until you figure out what you're gonna do. And Joe had sort of implied that the place that he was going to stay, it was going to work out. Like in a few days, they'd be able to move in, basically, is how he sort of made it sound.
Yeah.
They ended up coming down to our house. They have this van, like sort of a big, like, not white, it was a gray van for the wife with ALS. Her wheelchair could fit in there and stuff. Him, and then they have like a 26-foot moving truck with all of their everything in it, like a big U-Haul moving truck with everything in it, and they come and they're like, hi, like, we're here. And they have their neighbor with them she was just helping them move out, and she sort of thought that she would drive out with them, and then they said they would pay for her plane ticket back to Colorado. And she was a single mom who had a 15-year-old back at home and was like expecting to go home that night, and she was now staying at our house too because they didn't have any money.
That's weird.
I guess. Yeah. So it's like a weird situation. So they're all of a sudden at our house, and they spend the night, and then they spend another night, and then they spend another night.
So they basically
So they're at our house now.
They like camped. They camped in.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. So then my parents are starting to get a little bit weirded out because this guy, Joe, is, like, saying his story, like, over and over again. Like, we were supposed to move here, we were supposed to move here. He's, like, saying the story over and over again. And my parents are like, this guy's a little bit weird. Like, what is going on? Like, is it true? Like, what's happening? It turns out this guy had a head injury. And was like not quite in his space.
Like he was not quite in his right mind. Like,
yeah.
He was like kind of
like he had a head injury I think when he was super young, and then he had another head injury like a few years before this, and like he'd been a little bit like weird since then. And so they're like, oh, okay, this guy's like kind of weird, whatever.
Yeah.
So then they start talking to the neighbor who's also stuck there. She's sort of trapped. She wants to go home, but she can't afford a plane ticket back because they told her they would be paying for her plane ticket back. And the wife has ALS. She can't really talk. She can't, stand or walk or anything. She was like, I think the second longest living person with ALS under Stephen Hawking. So she's like, that's where she was at. Okay. So anyways, we start talking to this neighbor, and the neighbor says when they got to Napa, the house that they were supposed to move into, that he said they were going to move into in a few days, all that. So she's basically telling us that it's like this hoarder's house. There's no way a wheelchair could fit in there. And when they got there and knocked on the door and were like, hey, we're here to move in with you guys, the guy opened the door and was like, what the hell are you doing here? I never said you can move in here. That was over 10 years ago that I told you that. Like, you guys need to leave. Like, please stop bothering us. Like, you can't move in here. And this guy Joe had basically concocted in his head this story that he took that piece of information from over 10 years ago of like, hey, you guys can move in like 10 years ago, and like sort of thought that it was like now. And the guy at the door was like, what are you doing here? So my parents are finding that out, and then they find out that the house that they moved from in Denver is being foreclosed on, and they lost that house, and basically they're homeless now.
So they're like squatters.
Yeah, but they weren't trying to. Like, they were like trying to figure it out, but like they didn't have any money. So then they're at our house, and my parents are like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? Like, they're like freaking out. This woman, the neighbor, has been staying there, and her daughter's at home, and she's not sure how she's going to get home and all this stuff. So then my dad decides that he was going to take 2 days off of work and just drive them back to Colorado, because he knew that like out here, like being homeless out here just isn't it. And it wasn't a good place for them to be. And their house, they still had like a month left in their house.
So they could figure it out for a month.
For like a month, they could like have a home to live in. And so that was just like the best option at that point. So right when my dad makes that decision, they get a call from this guy who says, that's my van. The van that they had driven out, and was like, where's my van? You guys said you were going to take it for a day, and it's been a week. That's my van. I reported it stolen. So now my dad's freaking out because he's about to drive back across the country
with a stolen van.
In a van reported stolen.
Yeah.
So,
that's bad.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, frick. Like, what are we going to do? They also... My mom somehow gets on the phone with one of the wife who has ALS, one of her really good friends. And the really good friend was basically like, this guy Joe is a super big con man. We hate him. We don't want her to be with him. Like, he's a con man. He's dangerous. Like, she should not be with him. And so, like, now these people are living in our house. And we're like, So my dad, anyways, decides that he's going to drive back with them. He was going to drive, like, the truck, and they were going to drive the van back to Colorado. The other thing is, the guy, Joe, doesn't have a driver's license, got taken away because of his head injury, but he had been driving. I know.
That's bad.
I know. So it's like that whole, everything was, like, compounded on top of each other. So then my dad ended up taking them, driving them back, paying for, like, the hotels on the way back, all of the gas for the truck and the van on the way back. Like, we haven't talked to them really since then because it was, like, such a terrible experience.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. It was just, like, crazy. Because, like, I remember I was only, like, 9 at the time. And I just remember these people in my house and being like, who are these people? Like, you know, like, I didn't know any of the drama that was going on or anything like that. The thing that was sad is that no matter what, like, it was a tough situation for us, but, like, we, you know, the whole time it was, like, no matter what, it was worse for them because they really just didn't have any place to go, no money, no real way of work at the time. Like, it was just, like, sad for them, sort of. So it was like, you know, it sucked for us, but, like, it sucked for them. And the crazy thing is that all happened, like, you know, a few months after we moved out and, like, was trying to get our whole life sorted out.
Financially stable and, like,
and, like,
set
all
up
that stuff.
figured out. Yeah. That's crazy that all of that happened in such a short amount of time. I mean, a week and a half is really not that long.
Yeah.
Like, that'll pass by so quick, but it's crazy. Like, when all of that crazy stuff is happening, it feels so slow and kind of scary.
Yeah.
Ask your parents if they have any crazy stories.
Yeah,
like,
you should, because I learned about that, and I was there, so.
That was fun.
Yes, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the crazy story.
Like and subscribe. Yeah. Hope you have fun. Ask your parents about stories or your friends.
And
ask them about the stories
you
never heard. See if they have any crazy stories, because I don't know, we all do. So thank you for watching.